Each year, thousands of house fires across the U.S. are sparked by clogged dryer vents or neglected lint buildup, making dryer maintenance a crucial part of home safety. Here with some crucial information about keeping your dryer vents clean and safe is the owner of Great Lakes Dryer Vent Services, Jason Carlock. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Now, this is obviously something that you see time and time again because of your job. What are some of the most common causes of dryer fires that you tend to see in your line of work?
Well, it really boils down to whether or not the dryer has space to breathe. So if that dryer venting gets clogged or crushed or anything such as that, and you impede that flow, then the heat can't escape from the dryer as it's supposed to. So the dryer ends up getting super, super hot, and which could cause the lint inside the venting to combust and start a fire.
That's right. It really shows the importance of checking those lint traps and to make sure that the lint is removed every single time, or at least every so often. And you can see some photos right now on Civic Center TV of a recent job you did actually helping out West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder with an incident at her home. How often should homeowners have their dryer vents professionally cleaned, and what factors might change that timeline, would you say?
Well, the industry standard as a whole is that you should get your dryer vent cleaned once a year. But I've found that not everybody has a long run. It may be a short run. So they may need it every other year just for maintenance purposes or every 2 years. And that'll factor in once we go there and clean it out. We usually do a following year. We go there and clean it again. And that gives us an idea of how often they really should be getting it clean at that point.
That's right. And when people have incidents like this, who they're going to call? They're going to call you. So I'm curious if you can walk us through your process with Great Lakes Dryer Vent Services, what a typical vent cleaning usually entails.
Sure. What we do often is we go in, we check the back of the dryer, make sure the connection is connected properly, that the line isn't crushed, because folks will end up pushing their dryer back somehow, and that could pinch the, especially if it's flex back there. A lot of homeowners like the flex so they can pull their dryer out, they can clean back there, and then when they push it back, sometimes it gets crushed. So we make sure that that is clear and that there's nothing hindering that from the airflow from coming out. And then what we'll do is we'll go outside. We have specialized tools that run on air, 175 psi. We go through with our line. It's a spinning reverse ball. So what that does is it kind of propels that line almost like a rocket to get through all the bends and the turns. And then we pull all the debris outside like you saw in those photos. And then we clean that up. We do an airflow test to make sure that it is now venting properly and that it's safe to use and, that sort of thing. So
sounds like a very intricate process. Sorry, words are tripping me up sometimes, but a very thorough process to make sure that everybody stays safe. Now, it should be noted that maybe people don't always realize just when something might be wrong with their dryer vent until it's too late. So what are some early warning signs that a dryer vent might be clogged or unsafe?
The first thing that'll happen is that your clothes they won't dry as quickly. You'll have to run an additional cycle in order to get the clothes to dry. You may end up with lots of moisture inside the dryer. Another indication is most of the new dryers today, they'll give an error code, and that error code will usually tell you that there is a point of blockage that you'll need to get cleaned out in order for it to run properly. But I'd say the biggest thing is probably most people catch the fact that it is taking much longer to get their clothes dry.
Okay, that is interesting. And that shows the wonders of technology that nowadays you can get these alerts to really showcase that something might be wrong and that something may need to be addressed. And what would you say are maybe the biggest kinds of damage or risks that can truly occur if lint buildup is ignored for too long?
Well, I've had a lot of customers that say they're on their second or even third dryer, because they feel like it's the dryer that's not performing properly. So they'll call a maintenance guy. He'll come out. He'll maintain the dryer and say, oh, it's running fine. So they're incurring that cost. Um, of them, and then they have to call us. We come in, and that's an additional cost for them. So I would say that, and then as far as damage is concerned, a lot of times when the dryers are not venting properly, there's a safety feature inside the dryer that will trip sort of a breaker, if you will, that you have to get reset by a professional because it's inside the dryer. So that'll stop drying with heat, and it'll just be cool air blowing, and then your clothes don't get dry at that point.
And that's
So
all great things that you are there to help make sure that these families stay safe. Once again, for those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with the owner of Great Lakes Dryer Vent Services, Jason Carlock, going through things that people might want to be aware of when it comes to dryer vents or neglected lint buildup to make sure that they don't cause any sort of house fires or any sort of disasters at the home. Now, Jason, how does professional cleaning improve not just safety, but the performance and energy efficiency of a dryer?
right. So if your dryer is performing the way it should, then you should only have to run it on one cycle. But if you're running it on multiple cycles just to get the clothes dry, you are going to be paying extra costs in electricity or gas because you're using that more than it needs to be used. So if you're doing, let's say, 4 loads and you've got to run it, your dryer 16, 17 times just to get those loads dry, there is a cost factor to that too. It's going to cost a little more.
Yeah, 16, 17 spins, that's way too much, and that definitely does show that something might be amiss in the household. Now, Jason, what tips would you give homeowners for routine dryer care between professional cleanings to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, well, lint is always going to get past the lint trap, but you want to make sure that in between every load, you're cleaning that lint trap very well, getting all the lint out of it. And a lot of the dryer sheets, what they do is they melt the product onto the clothes, which in turn makes them soft. So a lot of times that will bake into the venting itself. So I would just say make sure that your screen is not getting blocked up. And if for some reason the screen is getting blocked up, then what you're going to want to do is you want to soak it in hot water with a little bit of Dawn dish soap, and then make sure it's dry before you put it back in. And that should definitely help with that. And then just make sure you keep that clean all the time, that you're not running it multiple loads with the lint without emptying the lint tray. So
All right, definitely learning a lot of information and definitely a lot of tips that people can take home with them to tackle their own dryer and to make sure that this doesn't happen at their home. But I am curious, what's the biggest misconception that people tend to have about dryer vent cleaning or dryer fire risks?
well, I don't think it's really a misconception more than it is just out of sight, out of mind. Most dryers exit out the back of the home, the side of the home. A lot of homeowners aren't back there looking. There's multiple different venting things that you have for your furnace, for bath fans, different things like that. So you're so used to seeing them, and there's so much other sort of maintenance that you have to do on your home that people are aware of that sometimes gets forgotten. So it is important that you should, when you're doing your spring cleaning, any of that sort of thing, make sure you're going out back, looking inside, seeing if there's a lot of lint built up around the cover of the where it expels outside, you want to make sure that you give us a call or you know a professional a call so that they can clean it out and make sure that it's safe and it's good to use.
That is what you are here to do and here to provide for the people of Greater West Bloomfield. Jason, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people go to gain a little more information to help prevent something like this from happening at their home?
Well, you can go to our website, which is GreatLakesDryerVentServices.com. We have links on there that you can look at. And also, you can fill out a form on there, and we'll give you a call back to get something scheduled. Or even if you have any concerns, or you could just call us at 248-366-4788. That's 248-366-4788. And we pretty much answer the phone 24/7. So we can get all your questions answered at that point.
All great information to keep the residents of Greater West Bloomfield safe. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.